Hi, this is Maggie,
And hi, I'm Mike.
and welcome to the M&M Debrief. This is April 18th, 2026. Mike, do you have any new news for the week?
Well, there's plenty of new news. Let's see. What did we learn from the last episode? Don't mess with the Pope, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Never get involved in a land war in Asia. So things are plodding along here in a war-torn America.
Yeah.
Um, so when we originally planned this episode, the Strait of Hormuz was open, according to our president, and now that we are recording this on Saturday, April 18th, it is back to being closed, which
Yeah.
would make one go, considering that the market was open yesterday, there was another up day in the market. And then all of a sudden, after the market's closed, then all of a sudden things go back to how they were.
Yeah, I know. I have my own concerns about the fact that most likely there is some self-dealing, some financial gain, some insider trading going on with regard to the war, and that there are people on the inside who are very close to the decision makers who are actually making a lot of money off this war.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think the starting of the war was not like that. I think it had our simmering, decades long hatred of Iran, plus Israel, which has pushed every president to attack Iran, and finally got one that bit. That was the original start, as Israel's effort to have even more of a control over the Middle East. But now that things are rolling, of course, it is cha-ching time for the people closest to the president and also many others in the upper echelons of the hedge funds, retirement funds, traders, bankers are all using this as an opportunity to make money. You could see it in the trades in the futures market on the oil and the S&P suspiciously timed trades. There was another short position went on yesterday, I believe, that
Yeah.
made millions. So now that the ball is rolling, hell yeah, they this is America. uh,
Right. Well, to your point, I understand that somebody placed a bet right before the announcement, and that resulted in a $720 million gain for the person who was, shorting oil, I guess. Do you think that it's possible that the war is being um, manipulated in order to generate opportunities to make money, as opposed to just people looking at an opportunity that comes along? Are there puppeteers in the background that are actually manipulating the war in order to create opportunities for wealth?
well, puppeteers who are manipulating Donald Trump. Exactly who they are. I know we're starting to sound like conspiracy theorists here.
I,
The stock market, which I believe is one of the worst indicators of how the economy is doing, but it is a huge factor for Donald Trump. Whether it's directly, indirectly, or if it's just one guy.
hmm
Uh, I'd have to do a little more research to say if it's being directly, puppeteered or whatever you want to say. Definitely influenced. There's definitely inside information, and this is not insider information. Insider information would be for if you have information about a company, then you can profit off that. This is how the inner workings of the government and the government decisions. Plenty of people in Trump's inner circle know that he's about to announce this
right.
tweet. Even the guy running his Twitter account, hey, put this tweet out. He calls his pals on Wall Street or wherever they are. Hey, I'm about to put this tweet out that says the Strait of Hormuz is open. Maybe you want to go short oil futures, just for the hell of it.
Right.
And whether it's direct manipulation, I'm not quite ready to go there yet. It's more of the bro club, the frat.
hmm
the Epstein class, if you will.
Right.
And nothing about any of that is illegal, frankly. I mean, if a guy running a Twitter account calls his pal,
Right.
I don't think that's illegal.
Not illegal,
Which I know some of this, well, it should be all criminal, but I don't think
you
it
think.
is. You'd think, yeah, more morally repugnant, rapacious, whatever you want to say, but I don't think it's illegal.
So, and maybe I'm sounding a little naive. So, are you saying that our elected congressmen and senators um, can go ahead and take the information that they've already decided upon and then use it to make money on Wall Street?
Yes, I
And
think you.
that's legal.
Yes, I know that a normal moral person like yourself would say, "What the fuck?"
Mhm.
But oh yeah, so for our listeners out there, Google the Pelosi portfolio. Nancy Pelosi has made millions, and she's not the only one, but she's kind of the most. She's like the poster girl for this, for like beating the market by 2 or 3 times in her portfolio. And since she's a public figure, she has published everything that she makes. Yes, there are like Mark Wayne Mullen just went long oil or something 2 days before the war, or not even 2 days before the war. It's not just Pelosi. These they're endless. Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, you name all these people, and they'll go into a subcommittee meeting, and hey, we're gonna authorize that Palantir become the data provider for the U.S. military. Bam! Everybody starts buying Palantir. They're getting in their E-Trade account or calling their broker or whatever. And oh yeah, this is absolutely a thing, and it's not illegal. Like corrupt,
It's not even
rapacious.
unethical, apparently.
Not, well, there you go. I mean, what becomes unethical? Because this is the norm now, and I can't believe that we have to make a law about this, or we'll put everything on a blind trust or whatever the right thing to do is. But oh hell
Yeah.
yeah! Thank you for being a naive about this, because you, the cynical Mike here, known this for a while. But oh hell yeah, this is a thing, absolutely.
So, but the president is different. The president, when they get elected, they're
Hmm.
automatically supposed to put everything into a blind trust, right? Now, I know that that's not the way for Trump, but traditionally that has been the case, right?
Yeah, the word you use there, tradition, is probably the key word. The larger question might be: is Donald Trump testing, showing the weaknesses in our system or the strengths of our system? But a lot of these things have just been norms and tradition and not a law. The only reason the presidents did this is because they are decent human beings. Well, you could decide whether they're decent human beings, but self-aware human beings, and they just put everything in a blind trust. Well, here comes Donald Trump, who doesn't care about any of that stuff, and there is no law. So he, is actively running his businesses for a while there, and his sons have taken over now. But yeah, so you would think, but we're in a new brave new world now, and a
Anything
lot of
goes.
this anything goes, and things that you think would be norm are not. And so I believe afterward, I hope, I don't know if I believe, but I think some of this stuff will be addressed down the road here, hopefully. We'll see. But,
Okay. Well, Mike, one of the things I know that we wanted to touch on, or the big story of the week, was this ridiculous fight between the Pope and our administration. And it is completely inappropriate. The hubris, the arrogance in JD Vance actually telling the Pope to be careful how he talks about theology. And then the memes that have been coming out where Trump himself is basically stating or communicating in the meme that he's the next best thing to Jesus Christ. Completely blasphemous. What are your thoughts?
like, well, I have plenty of thoughts. I'd like to ask you, as someone who was raised Catholic, I became Catholic by marriage. Both
Yeah.
women that I've been married to have been Catholics. My children, are raised in the Catholic tradition. But I was not raised Catholic. So I was wondering what are your thoughts being a born Christian or born Catholic? What do
Yeah.
you think you're seeing?
Well, interestingly, it feels very personal. If you had if you had attacked a family member of mine, my mother or father, I would feel the same way. And I think most Catholics around the world are reacting in that way. You've He has personally offended and insulted me. And it's because the Pope, and I mean, I know there's a huge history in the Catholic Church. They're not all saints. Um, there are some saints. Uh, but this Pope Leo just seems to be a decent person. Francis previously was a very decent pope. He was all about the poor and helping those who have the least of us. And there's such a goodness that we expect from the Pope. And we expect them to be the model for the rest of us and to help guide us in being better people. And everything is just so, I'll say, good for the crappy JD Vance and these corrupt politicians to have the audacity to attack someone of that character is just offensive. So, and I do take it personally. Our leaders are completely embarrassing themselves and they're offending the whole world and they just look really dumb.
Yeah, this kind of dovetails. I've been telling you for a while that it's probably that one thing that, well, there's numerous things, but the one thing that near the top of the list is just the religious nature of this. So I mean, say what you want about Israel and the Jews, they almost got wiped off the planet here, and I have serious problems with their Zionist regime. But they acted. They took their offense. They took their near their near extinction and turned it into action. And now here we are, all these years later, and the biblical existential nature of the Israel versus the Arab community, the Muslim community, is what's got me worried the most about this, because no holds are barred. If God is with me, if I'm the chosen people, who could be against me? And now Hegseth is putting Jesus and Trump into this matter. So now we've got three hardcore end times verbiage, and which can't be good.
Yeah.
If business is business and government is government, but religion is life and eternity, and
Right.
that nature of it has got me concerned about how far this is going to go. The Muslims hate the Jews. The Muslims also hate the Christians, and now it's the Christians and the Jews against the Muslims, and they're under attack. At what point are all the Muslim countries going to start to group
Mhm.
together? I know that the Gulf countries have been with America for a while because of oil, but will they revert their forces and actually go together and go against America? I'm not quite sure. But I would like to ask you: do you think that the Jews turn their near Holocaust into action? Do you think the Catholics? Do you think this is enough to garner action by the Catholic community?
If you mean against Trump, I'm
Mm-mm.
I
Yeah.
would say it's giving them great pause.
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest that there are a lot of Catholics that support the
Mm-hmm.
Republicans, first, and then for Trump, he certainly has a lot of their support, and I think that's why he won this last election. I understand he got more of the Catholic vote than Kamala Harris,
Mm-hmm.
but I think this is giving them great pause. And the question is, will it actually make a difference, in November? And when it comes down to it, who will they actually vote for? Or will they vote at all? I I wish I was hearing more from the Christians as well as Catholic leaders in America against what Hegseth and Trump and Vance are
Mm-hmm.
communicating to the Pope,
Mm-hmm.
and just generally what they are communicating about themselves and the blasphemous nature of their rhetoric.
Mm-hmm.
Hegseth, really making this into a holy war is what my fear is.
Mm-hmm.
And he is the one setting up Christianity as a reason or a mission of this war, which it really isn't. But he's communicating that to the troops and to us, and he's also communicating it to the Muslims, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just setting up a very, very dangerous framework
Yeah.
for our future, for our Department of War. I mean, it reminds me of the Crusades, and it's just not appropriate. It's dangerous, and somebody in a religious leadership here in the U.S. needs to stand up and say something and tell them to knock it off.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so the of him purging the all the top generals. These are all the guys who would be pushed back against him. He's just got yes men now, and I'm concerned the soldiers might not want to fight. If they know that this is the uncomfortableness of it all.
True. And he also got rid of I forgot the name, sorry, of the chaplain, the chief chaplain for the army,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, yeah, he is. Anybody who might be, who might contradict him or might, they're out. So,
Right.
yeah, all right.
Okay. Um, Mike, I think we wanted to maybe spend a little time talking about something other than politics.
Mm-hmm.
Sports, FIFA.
Oh, oh, yes, all right. Yeah, so I'm a big sports fan. For any listeners that we have, I'll try to only bring in sports when there is a geopolitical aspect to this, and I think there are a couple of items that uh, do fit the bill, so to speak. So, for you Americans out there who don't follow soccer, we've got the World Cup, which is going to be hosted by America, Canada, and Mexico in the summer. We're less than 2 months away. I think this is April 18th. I think, a couple months. And there is a lot of sturm and drang and angst coming from non-American entities, which is pretty much everybody, about having between ICE and the inflation, basically, and plus now the war. There's a lot of people that don't necessarily want to come here for tourists. They're expecting 30 to 40 billion dollars in tourist income, hotels and whatnot, and because of what America has done with ICE over the last year, and then now what they're doing with the war, messing up the world economy, the tourism apparently is dropping off a cliff. Um, and then the expense of everything as well. I'm seeing something like $150 for a bus ride from a hotel to a stadium to watch a
Good
game.
Lord.
That sort of stuff, plus whatever they're charging for the hotels. And at least the tourism, the spectators are dropping off. So that
Although tourism was dropping off anyway because of Trump and his
Yeah,
activity.
yeah, yeah. The ice actions were causing it, and now it's all just accelerated. Yeah. Plus, since Trump also wants to inject himself into everything sports related,
Yes.
you could tell he would be on the podium for some trophy presentations or whatever, and people just don't want to see that. They're not going to spend thousands of dollars. I'm not even sure they can get here. I'm hearing that Europe is going to run out of jet fuel in 6 weeks. So I don't even know if they can. I don't even know if they can get here, and if they can get here, I don't even know if they can get home.
When does the World Cup start? When do the games start?
Mid June, I believe.
Mid-June.
So we got a couple months here, but
Well,
so
to your point, though, it's very valid to say the potential risk of not having jet fuel. I mean, they're
yeah. I
already
mean,
in
there's
short
actual
jet fuel in
physical
Europe,
problem.
I understand.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, and so that we'll see. So the one thing I'm gonna not make a prediction, but I'm gonna say don't be surprised. So
No.
every time I make a prediction, I end up having to come on and say it's wrong. But I'll say don't be surprised if the next shoe to drop, so to speak, would be the teams. I know Iran doesn't want to play in America for obvious reasons. I wouldn't be surprised at all if more of the other teams said, we're not going to play any games in America. We'll go to Canada, we'll go to Mexico, we ain't going to America. I'm hearing some rumblings, but no real action yet, so that's just speculation on my part, but we'll see. FIFA is the world organization for soccer.
FIFA's known to be somewhat corrupt too, aren't they? As an
So
organization.
by somewhat, do you mean very?
Yes, that's what I
just
meant, very.
when you said somewhat, you meant very corrupt. Yes. Oh, yeah, I could go on a whole episode. But yes, somewhat corrupt. Yes.
So,
They actually gave him a. Did you see the FIFA Peace Prize they gave him? This
yes,
God,
yes,
was that horrible? But all
I
right.
did.
Anyway, so the second sport item is live golf. For those of you that are golfers or pay attention, there was a breakaway golf tour created 4 years ago, I believe, called Live. It's sponsored by the Saudi Royal Fund or the Saudi Investment Fund, I believe it is. They are attempting to get their money. They were attempting to get their money through various sporting events. They have a whole soccer league. So a lot of big names from the European soccer have gone there, and now they've got a golf league, and they're just paying these guys obscene amounts of money on top of the obscene amounts of money that they already made as PGA golfers. And they got some pretty big names there. Two or three of the top players in the world are playing in this tournament, and it's about to collapse. It's not going to be supported by the Saudi Royal Fund anymore, mainly because their source of income is getting whacked here. Their petrochemical plants and their pipelines,
Because of the war.
refinery, because of the war, and all of a sudden they got a cash crunch. And they're saying, well, we really wanted to do this, but we got to save our money because we ain't getting oil. We ain't getting $7 billion in oil every day like we used to, and we got to watch it. So now these guys pretty much burned a bridge when they went to do this. There's a couple, three guys who will probably get welcome back to the PGA because they're big names. But the rest of them are gonna have to go play in Europe or go play in they call it the the Corn League, I guess, where they have to go play in the minor leagues of golf. And
Hmm.
it might take them a couple of years to get back to earn their PGA card, and then they have to serve a year suspension from their last live tournament before they can even consider playing in the PGA. And it all has to
But
do with the war.
right, but we shouldn't still feel too badly for them because, like you said, they're making a lot of money being part of Live.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't be crying any crocodile tears for these guys.
Okay.
They're doing fine, but the real point is that Saudis don't have the cash to support this stuff,
Saudis don't have the cash.
which
I wouldn't have ever thought I would say those words.
you literally took the words out of my mouth. I didn't think I would ever say that sentence.
I know. Crazy.
Anyway, so there's the end of the sports update for this episode.
All right.
I'll try to keep you posted. I won't do it every episode. But
Okay, so as we're finishing up here
how about the
tonight.
NPVIC?
Oh, yes, the NPVIC. Yes.
So this came up with something called the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. So I'll let you guys Google it. But it's basically a group of states that are attempting to change how their electoral votes are cast. So normally, whoever wins your state, you cast all your votes for that candidate. So Donald Trump wins Virginia. He gets however many, 22 or
Electoral
the
votes, right. That's
electoral votes.
the current
That's the
state.
current way. There's one, I think Nebraska has one electoral vote that is different than the rest of the state. But anyway, that's basically how it works.
Hmm.
And so this pact is saying that regardless of who our state goes for, we will cast the votes for the winner of the popular vote of the entire country. So let's say if Virginia, and this just got signed in Virginia, that's why I keep referencing Virginia. that
Mm.
if Virginia goes red for the Republican, but the Democrat wins the popular vote in the entire country, Virginia will cast its electoral votes for or for the Democrat, the blue.
The
Which is
reason for doing that is why.
well, there's just a more growing concern that the electoral college is outdated, and it was originally put in place to protect landowners, to protect property owners and slave owners. Let's say the truth here, and they basically tried to get the entire country to have equal coverage as opposed to all the people. And this goes back to when the property owners were, you couldn't vote unless you were a property owner. You could only vote if you were a man and a property owner, that kind of thing. And
Mm.
so that kind of bled into the electoral college. So we'll see how this goes, but this is a way to get around the electoral college.
Got it.
So we'll see. And I think we did some research here. You did some research that you've got to have, and I'm still trying to figure out if this is actually a law or if it is just a compact like its name implies. But they're trying to get
Just a general.
enough states to cover 270 electoral votes, and
Right.
then some things start to trigger in. So.
Right. And right now they're at 222 electoral votes
Hmm.
of those who have already agreed to participate in this compact. So they're at about 82%. They have a
Yeah,
little ways to go, but they're getting close.
so Virginia signed this into their law, but they're not actually going to do it until the compact itself has enough states
Has
to
passed.
cover the 270. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Until enough states have doesn't it's passed, but they're not actually going to implement it until enough states pass. So we'll
Right.
see if this gets any traction, if this goes anywhere. But National Popular Vote Interstate Compact, for those of you who want to Google
Mm.
it.
Well, it feels what democracy should be. And I know that there's been a couple of instances where someone won who did not get the popular vote, I think twice. But
Mhm. It is
anyway,
happening more and more recently. It's happening more and more. That's for sure.
yeah. Okay, cool. Mike, winners and losers of the week. You start.
Let me see. I had the live golfers on the loser list. I mean, they're still
Mm,
wealthy, so I don't know how much of a loser. I'm going to. Okay, I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench here. I got a new loser. We didn't really talk about it.
all right.
I'm gonna go with the state of Nebraska.
The state
Uh,
of Nebraska.
So my understanding is the state of Nebraska is now reaching out to the federal government for financial help. They grow a lot of soybeans in Nebraska, and China got pissed at us. I wonder why, and stopped buying all of our soybeans. I don't know if you guys were following this last year, but China basically stopped buying any soybeans from us, which decimated obviously the
Didn't
soybean farmers.
Right. Didn't Trump already give farmers money?
There was something that did come up. Yeah, I believe there was some sort of help. But Nebraska has a
They want
hellacious
more.
amount of soybeans, and also a lot of their migrants got deported or they got scared and didn't want to work. And guess what? They stopped doing paying taxes. So they're looking for a bailout from the U.S. government, and so they might be the first domino. So we'll see, but I'm going to put them on the loser list for this week. Let's see how this goes.
Got it. I had a lot of candidates for my loser of the week. I am ending up choosing a couple of guys in Alabama. There's a story about a French woman when she was very young during World War II. She met a guy called Bill Ross from Alabama, and they had a flirtation, but they ended up marrying other people. Bottom line, they both had wonderful lives, and they later, lost their spouses, and they met again and fell in love and got married. And she left France and moved to Alabama to be with her husband. Bill died unexpectedly recently. He did not have a will made, And the Alabama rules are basically what happens is the widow gets half and the other half goes to the children. The two sons, though, apparently it wasn't enough. And one of the sons was affiliated with the sheriff's office, or he's part of the feds now. Apparently, he had his stepmother deported. And the poor woman was basically captured in her by ICE in her robe and nightgown and sent to Louisiana until I think yesterday she finally landed in France back into the arms of her loving family, her children. So she's okay now, but they put her through hell. And their father was basically not even cold in the grave. I just think those two sons are assholes. And I just think they're the biggest losers ever. So that's my vote.
God bless America.
I know. I know. Do you have a winner of the week?
Got to be the Pope, man. Jeez, he's crushing
Yeah,
it.
I agree. I agree. I think he has shown up well, as they say, despite the embarrassing and awful behavior of our leaders. Having to suffer through that such ignorance is just an embarrassment.
I might have to get baptized Catholic. What's the process for that?
Well, ask JD Vance. Apparently, he wrote a book.
All right.
All right. Anything else you want to add before we close, Mike?
That's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you very much for listening to us. Please share the link with your friends, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, thank you for listening to episode 3.
That's right. Take care. Bye bye.